Hello there. Welcome to another talk. I hope you liked the movie review I done. And today's talk is a very interesting one. This is called I.N.F.J, rarest personality type on the planet. And that I.N.F.J means introverted, intuitive, feeling and judging. So this is going to be a very interesting podcast, talk, meditation. Because all my talks are meditation, they always go that way. It's really the way I am with myself, you know. I mean, if you saw my pictures, a lot of my pictures that you see on the internet, on my website, etc., a lot of them are of my bedroom. You know, you see the lights everywhere, and it took years to develop it, you know. It's really nice at night time when I'm in there. But you know, this talk is related to really spiritual awakening, because I didn't become like this. Like this personality type suits me right down to the ground now, but I wasn't always like that. You know, you have your parents' DNA, and then you have the big unexpected spiritual awakening at the age of 24, like I did. 34 now, for 10 years. And it just changes you. Because now you're on a more, instead of being ego mind, narcissistic, you're more heart-based now. And you become more introverted, intuitive, more in your feelings, and that's how you judge correctly. So the I.N.F.J is seen as the rarest personality type on the planet. But really, you know, this is the personality type. What they're talking about is they're really talking about people who are going through spiritual awakenings. Because that's what happens, you know. That's what happens when you go through this experience. And I'm not going to go too into it just now, but at 24 I had enough of everything. And the willpower was so strong. In that flash moment, I knew everything was going to change. So a religious guy I watch, I'm not very good with names, so you have to forgive me, but there's this religious guy I watch on YouTube sometimes, and he says that you just have to take one step and God will take the other steps. And that's kind of like similar to the awakening, and you've kind of, the personality has to change to more I.N.F.J to accommodate this different kind of energy. Because what you're tuning into the energy of harmony. God is a power that is within harmony and presence. The devil is disharmony. It's very easy to differentiate. But when you're in the devil energy, the devil doesn't want you to see that. The devil is nothing to do with sex or anything like that. This is what this world would have you believe. It's nothing to do with that. Because sex is the core essence of who you are. It's ultimately God. But you throw love and romance in there, and you've got God there. But what the devil would do is maybe pervert it and make you see it in a certain way, so it's like sick, you know. You know, and that's really the devil. As an audiobook I started to listen to, is it called An Interview with the Devil? Well, in one of my new talks, if I remember the name for it, I'll say it. But it's an audiobook, and it's like an interview with the devil. It's not really an interview, and it relates to what I'm talking about here. That the devil is the force that tries to pervert everything. But the truth of it is, the real devil is the ether. within the ether. The ether is not the devil, but it's within the ether. It's within the subconscious. You see, and it's really ourselves. And once you start going on that spiritual awakening path, you start to heal the devil that's within yourself, because the devil and God exists within you, and we create it. You see? You know, so the I.N.F.J is opposite narcissism, it's opposite ego. It's ultimately, you know, you're just tuning into your intuition, you're tuning into your higher self, your heart, love, God. You see? That's that. And the only kind of person that would call someone like that bad names is it's nothing you've done, you know. And as I said that, I get this beautiful tingling feeling at the back of my head. And I'm not a medium, I can't hear spirits talk, but I believe that when I've said something on point, that's spirit. If you're a medium, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like this euphoria feeling I get, and I know it's when I'm absolutely on point with something. And I'm getting it now. But what is spirit? It's just higher. We're all the same consciousness ultimately. Spirit is just another name for it, and it's all the same consciousness. Like fish in a sea, you know, they're all swimming in the same consciousness. They are actually the sea also. And that's like symbolic of what I'm talking about. And that's not off topic, because it's what when you start to become I.N.F.J, you start to tune into these things. And like I say, I was the opposite of this. But when you have the spiritual awakening, you go through DNA activations now. Your DNA is getting changed. It's like, you know, God, Source, has come and is cutting the cords and is changing up, you know, because you change with your feelings and emotions determine your DNA. Everything is that energy. You see? And so, yeah, so once you start to get that spiritual awakening, you start to tune in to this personality, rarest personality type on the planet, but that's because the people that are spiritually awakening are the rarest type on the planet. That's what they're talking about. And yes, you'll get bad people out there that they're like the little minions, the little flying monkeys for the narcissist. You know, when you're awakening, when you're spiritually awakening. But it's a bit like that film. You know, that's where the flying monkey thing came from, the Wizard of Oz movie. And the bad witch in that movie was wanted her slippers. Well, these Decepticons, these bad people, they want this awakening. They think that you've got something that they don't have. They ultimately want to be like you. They don't have their own identity. You know, we are all the same consciousness, but we are all a unique expression of that one consciousness. That's the whole point of individual experiences. It's to make a difference. It's to do something completely new. You know what I mean? Because there'd be no point in having a life otherwise, would there? It's so that you can make a difference and you can be a unique version of that one consciousness. And to really expand life further. That's why if you've got children, don't try to impose your uniqueness onto them, because he or her must discover their own uniqueness. But when you tap into this I.N.F.J, that's when you can tap into your uniqueness. And what happened to me was I developed like the way I do my talks, and it's very much my own. And that's because I'm tapping into my own uniqueness that everyone has. You see, that's why, you know, you know, there'll be someone out there that'll see you as their twin flame or soulmate, and that's because no one is you, you see. And that's your power. But like I say, people will copy you until they start, like, there's an Indian lad who follows me on Instagram and said, can I copy you? I don't mind if people copy me. I mean, I don't own anything. But I would also say, and I said to him as well, but within you is a special uniqueness. Within every creature, every baby, every life form has its own unique specialness to it. And it's more important to tap into that. Look at all the great singers and bands. They were great people, boxers. Muhammad Ali, all the great people. They were great because they were tapping into their special uniqueness. And that sets them apart from everyone else, you see. And you tap into this. It's like people, when you hear people talk about Muhammad Ali, the boxer, they say that by himself he wasn't really loud, he was a very quiet, introverted person, right? Read the Quran, right? He was a reader, he was a studier, an intellectual. And everyone can be that if they tap into this I.N.F.J. So ultimately, we can have the planet. Imagine what the world would be like if everybody was I.N.F.J. You would have a bunch of great people. You would have a bunch of heart-based people. There wouldn't be wars, there wouldn't be conflict, but there would be greatness. And that planet then would be a real force. And ultimately, what I'm talking about here is the awakening, the mass awakening that's happening. The new earth that people like Dolores Cannon spoke about, David Icke and others. And all these great people, they're tapping into this I.N.F.J, which is within everyone. Like a God-given gift. You see? I mean, because if I can change from where I was, the complete opposite of what I am now. I was kicked out of school when I was 14 with no qualifications or anything. And then I have this awakening. Now I've got a website and people tell me that they really believe in what I say. And so if I can do this, then anyone can do anything. But I'm doing it because I'm tapping into my God-given power, which is this I.N.F.J, the rarest personality type on the planet. Like I've said, what that is the personality or the energy that you're tapping into once you're ascending and going within. You become more introverted, more intuitive, more feeling, and that's how you judge correctly. You see? When you're in fear and ego, you're opposite to that. So understand that the devil is confusion and fear. I.N.F.J is God consciousness. That's what you're tapping into. You're tapping into the source consciousness. The source wants to help you, right? Because we've got a miracle of life. And so ultimately it's about expanding that life. So like I say, tapping into that introverted, intuitive feelings and judging, that's going to set you apart from everyone else. And the power is within you. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, talks, news, research, and much, much more, please do check my website. All my talks, my latest talk is always at the top of my homepage. And my website address is www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.